let's play a little bit more of what Secretary Kennedy said about the COVID-19 pandemic during today's hearing. Take a look.
Do you think the vaccine did anything to prevent additional deaths?
Again, I would like to see the data and talk about the data.
You have had this job for 8 months and you don't know the data? Secretary of Health and Human Services doesn't know how many Americans died from COVID. Doesn't know if the vaccine helped prevent any deaths. And you were sitting as Secretary of Health and Human Services? How can you be that ignorant?
Joining us now, the man you heard right there, questioning Kennedy, Democratic Senator Mark Warner of Virginia. Senator, thank you very much for being with us. I think you may have been listening there in our conversation with Dr. Sanjay Gupta, who, of course, has been doing the job he's been doing, as he pointed out, for 25 years. You heard his assessment of the hearing. What's your reaction to that? And do you think that because Secretary Kennedy is in charge, more kids are going to get sick in America?
Absolutely, yes. I mean, I'm old enough to remember, polio, mumps, rubella. I mean, Senator Cantwell had a great graph of how many people were died from these, not 100 years ago, somewhat in my lifetime, in the 50s and 60s, and what vaccines has done. The fact that this is being relitigated right now, I know vast parts of the world in Asia, Africa, South America would love to get all these vaccines because they want their kids to be safe. And it's kind of mind-boggling, Casey. And the fact that, what I know about, listen, I thought Kennedy might bring some efforts around, healthiness. I know he's talked about seed oil and changing the color in Skittles, but that shouldn't be top priority when he's, basically undermining science, undermining research, cutting back on vaccines. And I thought my question was pretty basic. If you're the Secretary of Health, shouldn't you know how many Americans died from COVID? And did the vaccine help prevent deaths? He couldn't answer that. It's baffling.
The exchange was fairly clear there. You mentioned the color in Skittles and the other things, and there are obviously elements to the MAHA movement, Make America Healthy Again, where there clearly are a lot of Americans who perhaps rightfully don't trust companies to keep them safe, right? Who feel that there are things in food, there are things in farming or other places that are making them sick. What do you say to those Americans about all of this, and how do you pull that apart from the vaccine piece of this?
Well, I'd say I get it. I got 2 kids that are in their 30s. 2 of my 3 kids have got chronic illnesses. The incidence is much higher. And I thought it was interesting. It seemed like Kennedy kind of punted on the whole pesticide question with Big Ag. He didn't really take on that at all. And one of the things that I think the MAHA movement, and particularly MAHA moms, I wish we'd hear from Kennedy something about, well, what about the cleanliness of our drinking water? What about the quality of the air we're breathing? Those are real health hazards as well. And this administration is, rolling back bipartisan environmental rules that have been in place for 30, 40 years. Why isn't the MAHA movement, why isn't Kennedy talking about this? We ought to talk about the whole system we live in terms of health. I've been freaked out about some of the recent data about these tiny particles of plastic that are in plastic bottles. I think having a science-based approach that we think about things in terms of how they affect our health, sign me up. But randomly going after, vaccines willy-nilly and not really looking at all of the health factors is not what I thought we were going to get. I was actually hoping he might surprise us and be actually health-focused. He seems to have picked a few of these items that clearly he's had litigation efforts and his prior experience he focused on, but a comprehensive approach. And I don't know how you do comprehensive health without looking at air, water, and other things that we intersect with, as well as recognizing at the end of the day, if you refute basic science, kids are going to get sick, and not just kids. One of the questions you ought to ask everybody goes on. All right, Senator X or Congressman Y, are you getting a COVID vaccine?
Fair enough. Senator Mark Warner, very grateful to have you on the show today, sir. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Casey. Thanks so much.
See you soon, I hope.